Northern Colorado isn't always what it's cracked up to be. For most people, it makes sense for moving up here, but there are individuals that I have talked to through my lifetime that I 100% agree that this might not be the best place to live. So these are going to be my top 5 reasons to avoid Northern Colorado and potentially choose somewhere else in Northern Colorado, like Denver or Colorado Springs, maybe the Parker area, Westminster, or Arvada. So if you guys like these videos, please always like, subscribe, and share. And as always, my name is Connor Martin. I work here with Sukup Real Estate Services in Fort Collins, Colorado. We love helping people find their homes here, either if it's in Fort Collins, Loveland, Longmont, Berthoud. There are just so many options, and so if you're ever looking to buy a home, please feel free to reach out with any of your questions. And let's just jump into my top 5 cons of living here in Northern Colorado. So my first con of living in Northern Colorado is going to probably be the fact that this is a very highly growing area. And with an area that's going to be growing like it has been, pricing of homes are going to go up, up, and up. And so since when I moved back here back in 2016, we were able to buy a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home for just a little under $400,000. Now today, that home over in Loveland, Colorado, with a little tiny backyard, but a little bit of space in between us and the next houses, is worth anywhere between $500,000 to $600,000. And so prices here for living in Northern Colorado have significantly gone up, and especially if you're wanting to live close to the mountains, like living in Fort Collins, Loveland, Berthoud, Longmont, Erie, and some of those areas. It does get a little cheaper once we head out east, but then you kind of lose some of the enjoyments of what you came out here to Northern Colorado to enjoy, unless you're looking for a little bit of space on your own property like an acreage. So finding a home here that is, under $400,000 isn't impossible, but you're going to have to really set some limitations on what exactly you're looking for, especially if you're moving from an area like I did from Kansas, where I got to live in the same exact kind of house, around a $400,000 house on a golf course in Baser, Kansas. That showed me a true difference between what the cost is like living in Kansas versus Northern Colorado. One of the nice parts, though, and especially for clients that typically watch these videos and go through this, is that they're moving typically from more expensive places like California, Arizona, Texas, Washington, Oregon, and they're moving out here because they're looking for cheaper. They're looking for cheaper taxes, cheaper housing, and this is definitely a place to look for if that is your situation. But if you're on the other spectrum like I was when I moved out from Kansas, it's not as fun moving out here as everyone says it is. There's definitely some extra challenges that are going to be involved. My second con would definitely be with this growing city is that you're going to get traffic. Traffic to me is a huge thing. I'm always out constantly riding my motorcycle, or for work, being a realtor, our job is commuting. So I do focus on the traffic a lot. When I first moved out here, traffic was amazing. I mean, Highway 34, which is over by where I live in Loveland, it was never busy. You could make it down to Greeley in less than 30 minutes. And it used to be a really quick commute drive up to Fort Collins, Colorado, about a 10-15 minute drive for me. And all those drives, I would say from 2016 to now 2023, have increased at least by like 2 to 3 minutes. I know that doesn't seem like much, but to me, it makes a big difference when you're driving behind a line of 50 cars trying to get into Fort Collins and being stuck at a light because our infrastructure here just isn't built for this type of population. We have a lot of just 2-lane roads where sometimes you might be stuck at a light for about 10-15 minutes on Wilson, which intersects between Fort Collins and Loveland, and you'll be sitting there at the Larimer County dump waiting for a light that is off of Harmony Road, and that is your typical morning start if you're going to go at rush hour from like 7 to 9 o'clock. Be prepared for some of those roads to feel like that. And so that would definitely be my second con. So my third con of living up here in Northern Colorado is definitely going to be the fact that you're going to feel a little bit of a diversity change probably from where you're coming from. If you're coming from California, if you're coming from Texas, if you're coming from Oregon, if you're coming from some of those areas, be prepared for this area to look a little bit wider than the rest of the states that you've lived in. When I used to live in Kansas, there were definitely more black people and Hispanic people than in Kansas than there was ever going to be here in Fort Collins or northern Colorado. And that's just the truth. We have a very large population for that. And so, for most people who moved out here, that's one of literally the first things that people say is, dang, how pasty white we are up here in northern Colorado. And, I can't blame them. I understand that feeling. And, I'm definitely one of those pasty white guys that, just enjoys having our little peace and quiet and a little bit of serenity up here. And I think that's what a lot of people are still looking for. And, other than that, heading out east is about the only other place you're going to go. Otherwise, if you're looking for some diversity, Denver is going to be your next place, or Colorado Springs is going to be a hell of a lot better. So if you're thinking about diversity and if that's something you need in your life, definitely northern Colorado is going to be a little bit more of a challenge. So my fourth con of living in northern Colorado, and we are stuck at it right now, is the fact that northern Colorado was really based off of the railroad. That's how Loveland's got its start. That's how Berthoud got its start. That's how Fort Collins got its start. And because all these towns were so attached to the railroad, all the railroads are very close to town. So no matter where you live, if you're afraid of hearing railroad noises, northern Colorado might not be the best place, because no matter where I've looked, no matter places I've shown property at, more than likely you're going to run into a railroad or two that are within at least a mile or a half mile to most homes. And for most of us here, you get kind of used to it. Last night, I heard 3 trains come through near our house, and we had our windows open last night because it's finally starting to get nice enough to where we can leave the windows open at night and get a nice cool breeze in. But, it does get kind of annoying after a while, is always constantly being stuck at trains or going out and trying to, actually sleep at night with a window open. Trains just kind of get in the way, and so when actually looking for homes here in northern Colorado, just be prepared that no matter what, unless you're going to be spending a couple million out here, you're going to probably hear some railroad tracks, and you're going to probably hear some train horns every once in a while, no matter where you live. And so just definitely be prepared for that to be one of those cons that will come up. And it is something that a lot of people ask about. So just something to keep on your radar on that side. So my fifth and final con of living up here in northern Colorado, I would say is there's maybe a little bit more commuting for certain amenities. We have literally everything you could possibly need, from some of the best restaurants, like where we are in downtown Colorado. We're just passing the Penrose on the north side of downtown Fort Collins, to Blue Agave that we're going to be going up next to here soon. Being able to get to good food, or, good quality theaters, or to go out and do anything fun that isn't involved with, going outside and adventuring, is going to be a little bit more of a commute around. And so, again, just something to be prepared about. I don't think it's a big enough issue to consider it to be that. That's most towns that, if you're looking to get a little extra space, that's typically what you're going to deal with. And so, those are really my 5 cons. It is always really hard for me to come up with these, except for like the easy ones like traffic and, maybe jobs and roads and infrastructure. But northern Colorado is a pretty dang solid area. It's got some really fun, amazing towns. And so to me, don't check this one just off your list based off of this video. Definitely watch some of my other great videos that I have about northern Colorado. And just if you guys ever have any questions, concerns, or anything like that, please let me know on that side. And if you guys are looking to buy up here, please feel free to always give me a call. These motorcycle videos are not always the easiest for me to shoot. I'm trying to think while ride, which is not always the best option. And so, hopefully you guys can get some of my other videos where I'm actually in my studio. But I just made it to the office today and stuff. So just wanted to get you guys those good 5 cons of living in northern Colorado. And we will catch you next time when we talk a little bit more about some of the good things in northern Colorado and some of the fun towns that we have around here. Hope you guys have a good rest of your week, and we'll catch you next week.